Okay, number one. What do you think? We forward to going there for months, so we gave it a try. Which do you think is the correct option here?
It looking.
We've been looking.
We've been looking forward to, right? Very good. Number two, at times, I actually felt as if they were
Looking.
looking down on us. Very good. Number three, we went back there a second time, but nothing
A change.
Change.
has changed. Very good. Number four, when Alex and I finally went out on a date, we've been texting for weeks. Very good. And the last one, he kept posting online while
Was talking.
I was talking to them. Very good. So now I want you to tell me what tenses can you see here in the sentences. For example, the first one. What tense are they using in this sentence? Number one. What tense? ¿Qué tiempo gramatical? What tense?
Present perfect continuous.
Present perfect continuous?
Yes.
Past perfect.
Or
Past perfect, right? Past perfect. Very good. It is present perfect if we have here, but here we have had, right? Very good. What about number two? What is it?
Past continuous.
Past continuous. It is present continuous is if the verb is present here, right? If the verb to be, but in this situation is in the past. Past continuous. Here in this one,
Past
past
perfect.
perfect.
past perfect. Very good. This one,
Past perfect continuous.
past perfect. Past perfect continuous, right? And the last one,
Simple past.
Past continuous.
past continuous. Very good.
Continuous.
Past continuous. Very good. So today we are going to talk about all these tenses, and we call all these tenses narrative tenses. Okay? Narrative tenses. When do you think we use narrative tenses? When? When do we use these narrative tenses? What do you think? Any ideas? Narrative?
When tell a story.
Yes, when we are telling a story, right?
So-
Yes, when we are telling a story or when we are talking about past events. Okay, so yes, we use them when we are telling a story or an event that happened in the past. Okay, so narrative tense. We are going to talk about them. Here we have the past simple is a narrative tense, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. We are going to use all of them in this class, in this lesson, okay? So here I have the structure of each one of them, and I want you to tell me how can you match the tenses here with the structure. For example, in the first one, we are going to read them first, okay? Subject, had, the verb in the past participle, and complement. The second one is subject, had, been, the verb with the ing form and the complement. The number three, subject, the verb to be in the past, the verb in the ing form and the complement. And the last one, subject, verb in the past simple and the complement. What do you think? How can we match them with the correct tense here? For example, past simple. Which is the structure that we use? Number four. The last one, right? The orange one. Yes, very good. Past continuous.
The third one.
The third one, right? Okay, very good.
Past perfect.
Past perfect. Which one?
Mm,
Perfect.
First one, very good. And the past perfect continuous, of course, is this one, right? As you can see, when we have the perfect tenses, you have to pay attention to the auxiliary verb. When we have perfect tenses, we normally have the auxiliary verb here, had. In this case, we have had because it's in the past, right? But in perfect tenses, we have the auxiliary verb have or had, okay? And the verb in the past participle, okay? But in the continuous tenses, we always have the verb to be in any of its forms, en cualquiera de las formas, el verbo to be, and a verb with the ing form. The same here. Where is the continuous? Here we have verb to be and the ing form. Okay, so you have to pay attention to that. Okay, so now we are going to check when we use all these tenses. How do we use them? So I want you to pay attention. I want you to take notes. Then I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? So let's check. We are going to start with the simple past. When do we use the simple past? What do you remember about this? Because this is something that you have already learned, right? When do you use the simple past? Do you remember anything? When? When do you use the simple past?
When you have a subject, a verb, and a complement.
Okay, this is the structure, yes? This is the structure of the sentence, very good. But when? In which situations do you use the simple past?
When the action was in the past.
Okay, but we use all these tenses when we are talking about past actions. The past continuous, we use the past perfect continuous, the past perfect. All these tenses are talking about past actions. What about this one? When do we use this one?
When the action is finished.
Yes,
It's
very
not
good.
going to repeat again. You bought a pair of shoes yesterday. You are not going to buy a pair of shoes again today, right?
Okay, yes, very good. When we are talking about completed actions, right? When we did an action, we started an action and we finished the action in the past, right? Very good, very good. And also, we use this simple past when we are talking about the main events in our story. Okay, let's see. Describe the main events in a narrative, and these are completed actions in the past. Very good. So, remember the main events, the important events in our stories, we tell them in the simple past. Okay? I'm going to give you an example here. Here we have some verbs in the base form that we are going to use in this sentence, okay, or this narrative. And I want you to change them to the correct form, okay? For example, it says, bond the door very slowly. Which of the verbs do you think we need to use?
Opened.
Very good. Opened the door very slowly. Then we have carefully around the room.
Looked.
Looked carefully around the room. And
Walked in.
walked in, right? Very good. So when we are describing main events in a story, we use the simple past. We also use the simple past when we are telling one action that happened after another action. Like, for example, in this situation. Okay, so first he opened the door, then he looked around, and after that he walked in. As you can see, one action happened after the other. Okay, we also use the simple past when we are describing past events that happen one after another. Okay, one after another. Here, aquí me faltó una E. Okay, so let's move on. This is a simple past, okay? So main events, completed actions, and when an action happened one after another. Okay? Any questions about the simple past in narrative tenses? Any doubts? Okay, let's go to the next one. We are going to talk now about past continuous. Any ideas about when do we use this? When do we use the past continuous?
Past continue, we use to explain the situation in a progress, a time, and the history.
Okay. Yes, yes. The situation that is in progress in the story. Very good, very good. Anybody else? No? Okay, let's check the past continuous. Very good. We use, yes, when the situation is in progress in the past, right? And also we use the past continuous to describe background events in a narrative. What does it mean, background events? Something that is happening at the same time of the main events, okay? So, but it's not that important, okay? Let's check an example. What are they doing here? Where are they? What do you think?
They was having a picnic.
They were having a picnic? Okay.
They are talking at the same time.
They are talking. Okay. Very good. So we are going to use these verbs in our story. Okay. Here we have shine, sing, be, and meet. Okay. So here we have the story. It says, I, him in the park. What do you think?
I was
Meet.
meeting.
meeting him.
I
I was meeting.
Met him in the park.
again, please.
I met him in the park.
I met him in the past. As you can see, this is not a background event, it's an important event in our story. I met him in the park. So that's why it's in orange, because remember the past simple was in orange, right? So I met him in the park. The sun,
Sun shining.
again,
Was shining.
was shining. This is the background event. Okay, the sun was shining and the birds
Were singing.
were singing. Very good. It
Was.
was a beautiful day. As you can see in this story, the main events are in the simple past, but the background events are in the past continuous. Okay, so we use the past continuous when we are describing what is in the background. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next use of the past continuous. It says, we use also the past continuous to describe an action in progress when a completed action happened. As your partner said before, we describe an action in progress, okay? A long action. And then we can describe the other action in the simple past. Let's see here. What do you think is he doing here?
He's taking a shower.
Taking a shower, right? Okay, pay attention to this. We're going to use these two verbs and in this part of the story. I
Was taking.
was taking a shower. This is an action in progress, right? When someone knocks the door. Okay, so as you can see, this is an action that interrupts the longer action. So when we have two actions in a story, we have a long action, an action in progress. We use the past continuous to describe this action. When we have another action that interrupts the action in progress, this action is in the simple past, okay? So we use this to describe action in progress, okay? Something that is very important too is this expression we normally use when, okay, to join these two actions in the past. Let's go to the next one. We have another use of the past continuous, and it says to describe two actions in progress that were happening at the same time. Okay, so two actions. For example, here we have two people, okay, and we are going to describe these two actions, and they both are happening or were happening at the same time. Okay, so here we have work and listen. So I
Was working.
I was working
working.
while my coworker
Was listening.
was listening music. Very good. So as you can see, we are describing two actions in progress that they were happening at the same time. Okay. So something that is important is this word, while. We generally use while when we are describing two actions that are happening at the same time. So very good. So let's move to the next one, the past perfect. When do you think we use the past perfect?
When the action start in the past, but maybe continue later.
Okay, this is the present perfect.
Finish.
Any
The
other
action
ideas?
didn't finish.
The action
When
didn't finish?
Yes.
Okay, any other ideas?
also when we want to mention something that happened before another.
Okay, yes, when we talk about an action that happened before another action in the past. Okay, to describe an action that happened before another action in the past. So we are talking about two actions, but one of them happened before and the other after. Okay, so let's see here. Here we have these two verbs and the little story here. By the time Paul, what do you think? Arrived, very good. By the time Paul arrived, I
had
cooked dinner. So which of these actions happened before? She had cooked. This action happened before, right? For example, here we have the timeline. Here we have the past, the present, and the action that happened before was she had cooked. This happened before, and after that, he arrived. Okay, so remember, when we are describing an action that happened before another action in the past. And this is an expression that we normally use when we are describing actions one after another, okay? By the time, okay? Or one that happened before the other action, by the time. Also, we can use before or when, okay? These are some expressions that we use with the present perfect. Any questions about the present perfect? Okay, let's talk now about the past perfect, the past perfect continuous, okay? Pay attention to this. So this is something similar to the past continuous, okay? As you can see, we use the past perfect continuous to describe background events in a narrative. But what is the difference between the past continuous and the past perfect continuous? The difference is that this action, these background events, or these actions in the past perfect continuous happened before another action in the past, okay? So let's see here, to describe an action that was in progress before another action in the past. So these are the two situations in which we can use the past perfect continuous. For example, it says, come back, rain, and realize. Okay, so let's see here. When what can we say here?
When I come back,
When I came back,
When I came back home, I realized, very good, it
Had raining.
Not raining.
¿Cómo formamos el past perfect continuous? How do we form it?
Big
I can see the other word.
It had been
raining. Very good. It had been raining. Okay, so as you can see, this is an action in progress. Okay, it's a long action, but happened before he came back. Okay, so I realized it had been raining heavily for several hours. Okay, so as you can see in the timeline again, this is a action in progress, right? It says it had been raining before he came back home. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, it's an action in progress that happened before another action in the past. Okay, here you have some links to practice this. I don't know if you have questions about these tenses. Any questions? Let's practice. Yes.
What's the difference in past perfect continuous, past continuous?
That the past perfect continuous always had happened or had been happening before another action in the past. Okay, siempre el past perfect o past perfect continuous pasa antes de alguna acción en el pasado. Por ejemplo, en esta acción tenemos came back y luego had been raining. Esta acción es la que estaba pasando antes de que él volviera a casa o de que ella volviera a casa. ¿Ok? Entonces, esa es la diferencia. ¿Ok? Esta siempre pasa antes de otra acción. ¿Ok?
Okay.
Let's go to the book. Here you have some other exercises. Exercise number 4 on page 9. Here we have different timelines. Okay? So it says, match sentences 1 to 5 in exercise number 3 with timelines A to C. What are the tenses in A to C called? Okay, so here we have, it says, was in progress at the same time as B. A was in progress at the same time as B. Which of the sentences in exercise number 3 can we match with this one? ¿Cuál podríamos relacionar con esa primera? A was in progress at the same time as B.
The number 5.
Number 5.
Teacher? Yes.
Yes, he kept posting online while I was talking to him. These two actions were happening at the same time, right? Very good. And what is the tense here? What is the tense we use here?
past continuous.
Past continuous, right? Two actions that are happening at the same time. Very good. What about this one? A happened before B. Which of the sentences here we can match with this timeline?
Number 1, teacher.
Number 1, he'd been looking forward to going there for a month. So we gave it a try. Okay, yes, this happened before another action in the past.
Number 3.
Number 3, when we went back there a second time, but nothing had changed. Very good. This one, number 3, right? Well, both. let's see here. So what is the tense that we use when A happened before B?
Past perfect.
Past perfect. Yes, number 3 is the correct one, right? Past perfect. And then we have here, A was in progress before B. What do you think here? A was in progress before B. Action A was in progress before B.
Number 4.
Number 1.
Okay, it says, when Alex and I finally went out on a date, yes, we had been texting for weeks. Yes, number 4. And also number 1, right? Very good. So, what is the tense here?
Past perfect continuous.
Past perfect continuous, right? Very good. So, these are the 3 tenses here. Good. Here we have some examples of these tenses. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous, okay? More examples. As you can see in this one, in the first one, I parked the car and I walked into the restaurant. So in this sentence, we are describing one action that happened after another, okay? And the other examples, right? It says, the past continuous and past perfect continuous usually aren't used with state verbs. Remember that we don't use continuous tenses for state verbs. So the same here. We don't use state verbs. We generally don't use state verbs with continuous tenses, with past continuous and past perfect continuous. Okay? So let's practice a little bit more the narrative tenses on page 113. Go to the page 113, exercise number 1. Okay, so we are going to do this. We're going to complete the sentences, okay? Number 1, it says, Jim had waited or was waiting for us when we arrived at the station.
Was
Was
waiting.
waiting.
Was waiting, right? Very good. Was waiting for us. Number 2, we'd been dying or we died to see, we had died to see the new movie for weeks. By the time we finally had seen or we saw it. What do you think?
With been dying.
We'd been dying, okay, to see the new movie for weeks. By the time we finally
Saw it.
saw it. Very good. Number 3, Henry had been feeling or felt a little depressed. So he, what do you think in the first part?
He felt.
Which one?
Felt.
He felt, él se sintió.
Had been feeling.
He had been feeling.
Had been feeling,
Been
right?
feeling.
Se había estado sintiendo deprimido. So he
decided.
decided to
Hiding.
take a vacation. As you can see, this action happened for a long time before or was in progress before another action in the past, right? Number 4, I was owning or I owned a great apartment in Italy, right by the sea.
Owned.
I owned. Very good. Number 5, had your brother not realized or had your brother not been realizing that it was an expensive restaurant? Which one? Realize. State,
Had your brother not been.
state or action? Realize. What do you think? State verb or action
State.
verb? The state verb.
State verb. Didn't realizing.
Been realizing?
No,
No,
have not realized.
Have not realized, because we generally don't use continuous tenses for state verbs, right? Number 6, while I had talked or was talking to some friends,
Was
someone
talking.
Was talking.
someone taped or someone was tapping me on the shoulder. Tapped or someone was tapping me on the shoulder. What do you think?
Tap.
Tapping.
Tapped. Very good. By the time Anna joined or was joining us for dinner, we had eaten or we ate most of the food.
Had it eaten?
By the time
Was
Anna
join us.
Was
Was
joined.
join us.
join us, right? By the time Anna joined us for dinner, we
Had eaten?
had eaten. So this action happened before the first one, right? Number 8, when I met or when I was meeting Mike in person, I felt or I was feeling
When I met.
when I met Mike in person, I
Felt?
felt as if I
Was knowing.
had known him my
I
whole
had.
life. Know is an state verb, right? Yes, very good. Any questions about this? Anyone that you maybe didn't understand? No? Okay, so we are going to stop here and I want you to do